I want to start right with Bitcoin and what you see as the outlook for Bitcoin's price. In recent weeks, you've come out and said $1.5 million per Bitcoin by the year 2030. Since then, though, we've seen quite a few outflows. We've seen a lot of volatility. Shonali just went through that. Is that still your view? 1.5 million by 2030?
Yes, it is our view. I think right now we're in a risk-off period generally. And if you've been watching Bitcoin, it's almost been a leader in terms of risk on, risk off. So I think that's what we're seeing. If we look at our on-chain analytics, what we see is, I'm sorry, I have to get this off.
캐시 우드는 미국의 유명한 투자자이자 아크 인베스트의 CEO입니다. 그녀는 혁신적인 기술 기업에 집중 투자하는 전략으로 잘 알려져 있어요. 전통적인 투자 방식과는 다른 미래지향적 투자의 상징 같은 인물이죠. 장기적인 관점에서 미래 산업에 집중 투자를 하며 폭발적인 수익률을 올리기도 했습니다. 2030년까지 비트코인이 150만 달러 이상 가능하다는 전망을 내놓았던 그녀가 최근 온체인 분석과 함께 여전히 가장 큰 확신을 가진 투자가 비트코인이라며 비트코인에 대해 강한 신뢰를 갖고 얘기합니다.
If you look at our on-chain analytics, what you will see is that we are in the middle of, we're a little bit more than halfway through a 4-year cycle. We think we're still in a bull market. And we believe that the deregulation that we're seeing here in the United States is going to be very important to institutions moving into this new asset class. Asset allocators have to have a point of view on this new asset class. And we think by putting it in portfolios, risk-adjusted returns for the entire portfolio will go up.
One question I have to the point you're making here on where the risk appetite stands around Bitcoin versus other asset classes, there has been a serious dip in markets, Kathy. If you had to choose where you would buy the dip the most, would it be in Bitcoin, Tesla, or Nvidia?
Well, we post our trades every day, and you'll see that we've been buying Tesla and names that mimic Bitcoin and other crypto assets like Coinbase, like Robinhood, taking advantage of this risk-off period.
So what does this mean in terms of where you see things going? Do you see more of a sell-off before things get better in these risk assets, Bitcoin or otherwise? How do you know that we're not at the lows?
So one of the things we think is going on right now is, and Treasury Secretary Bessent today said he does not believe that we're going into a recession. We think we've been in a rolling recession and that we are actually going to see some negative quarters here. And that's because the velocity of money is collapsing as people the labor force is worried that, and we're talking about federal, state, and local, quasi-government categories like education and healthcare. There's a lot of fear around job security right now. So we see the saving rate going up. We see the velocity of money coming down. And we do think we'll see 1 or 2 negative quarters. What we believe that will do is set this administration up and the Fed up with more degrees of freedom for tax cuts and perhaps lower interest rates, or at least ending quantitative tightening.
How many rate cuts do you see happening this year, Kathy?
Well, we tend not to be very short-term in our focus, but if we're right and inflation is going to surprise on the low side of expectations, we wouldn't be surprised to see 2 or 3 cuts. Now, if you look at an indicator called Trueflation, it's probably the broadest measure of inflation out there. It is saying inflation is down to 1.65%, well below where the Fed is pinning it at roughly the CPI's 2.8%. And we believe that the combination of actually food prices have started coming down, even egg prices have started to collapse, as a matter of fact. Gasoline prices are coming down. We're seeing some rent prices coming down. So we think inflation is going to surprise on the low side of expectations for those reasons, and because innovation is inherently deflationary. And our 5 innovation platforms are all driving different kinds of deflation, good deflation, which will cause unit growth, but deflation nonetheless. So we think the Fed is going to have many more degrees of freedom in the second half of this year than most people think. We could see more than the number I just suggested, 2 to 3 cuts.
Hey, Kathy, you and I have spoken quite a bit over the last few months. You were optimistic about the Trump administration, specifically with regard to disruptive technology and your thesis, but also with cryptocurrency. You just spoke about the easing regulatory environment around crypto. I'm curious, though, what you think about President Trump's relationship with crypto. The Wall Street Journal reported that the Trump family has held deal talks with Binance following that guilty exchange plea. And then also you have the president getting into meme coins. You have World Liberty Financial. Are you at all concerned that the Trump family is too close to crypto?
Well, I think the Trump family is very supportive of crypto, which is great. It's completely different from the environment we had been in. Our view on meme coins, we're not as focused on them. We would not be putting them into our various private funds. Because, and I think that, the combination of AI and blockchain technology is creating millions of these meme coins. We think most of them are not going to be worth very much. We think there are just going to be a few crypto assets that will gain most of the spoils in the entire ecosystem.
Kathy, even some of the people who believe most firmly in the crypto story here, they are still worried about those meme coins and a lot of retail investors being stuck holding the bag. And another thing that's happening at the same time is you have a lot of exchanges looking to loosen their listing standards. Do you worry that this could go too far, that too many coins that are going to hurt retail investors ultimately will be listed on too many exchanges?
Well, I think that the SEC did a very important thing in declaring these meme coins not securities. What they essentially were saying is, we are not going to regulate them, and it's buyer beware. And so if I have one message for those listening who are buying meme coins, buyer beware. And I think the message is loud and clear from the regulators. What we think will happen is there will be some fearsome declines in the prices of some of these meme assets. And, there's nothing like losing money for people to learn. And they'll learn that the SEC and regulators are not taking responsibility for these meme coins.
Buyer beware of what specifically? Because you did say that you believe that there are only certain crypto assets that will gain the most spoils. What do buyers need to be aware of?
That the millions of meme coins will probably end up worthless. So when we're talking about the big three, we're talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. The use cases for those are multiplying. And we think they're going to become very important in the years ahead. Meme coins, not so.
What about Trump's meme coin? Is that one of the ones that you think will become worthless, Kathy?
It's interesting. The meme coins will be collector's items, so digital collector's items. And so, of course, some will withstand, will withstand the judgment of time. And that may be one of them. But our working assumption is that when you're talking about millions of meme coins, that that's just a step too far, and that most of them are not going to be worth very much.
I do want to ask you a big picture question about crypto, because I think for a lot of people, they look at these tokens as stores of value, as bets that they'll go up in the future and they'll be worth more and their portfolio will grow as a result. When do you see use cases for crypto, maybe specifically Bitcoin, actually affecting us in the real world?
Well, I think what is happening with the stablecoin movement, which, again, we're going to see deregulation and legislation this year, we think, which will open the doors to stablecoins. So USDC, that's Circles, USDT, that's Tethers. That's the on-ramp into DeFi, decentralized financial services. So you're already seeing lending and saving and yield harvesting taking place on these ecosystems, which are supported by Ethereum and Solana. And of course, you're seeing wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum as well. So Bitcoin's trying to get into the game. But in terms of real utility, if you go to emerging markets, and I know this is not this market, but you go to emerging markets where their currencies destroy purchasing power and wealth with massive devaluation. So it's really their policy leaders. They are using Bitcoin in particular, but also stable coins, which is effectively the dollar, as backstops to their purchasing power and wealth, because they've been through too many of these devaluations. So I think the real utility, if you're looking at stable coins and Bitcoin today, is in the emerging markets, really protecting consumers' purchasing power and wealth.
Kathy, you have the great challenge of investing in innovative solutions at a time where the market is nervous and discounting the idea of putting more money to work in innovation at the moment. And to the extent that you could choose one single biggest conviction bet that you would make right now, what is it and why?
We have been known for our Tesla call and our Bitcoin call, and those still stand as two of our biggest calls. For sure. I would add, in the AI age, platform as a service companies like Palantir, which are really enabling large enterprises to move into this AI age and enjoy the efficiencies, the cost effectiveness, and to create new products and services. Those, I think, are going to be very big as well.
캐시우드는 여전히 2030년까지 비트코인 150만 달러 목표는 유효하다고 말하며, 현재 시장은 리스크 오프 국면이고 비트코인이 리스크 자산 흐름의 선두주자 역할을 할 것이라고 얘기합니다. 또한 온체인 데이터 분석에 따르면 여전히 강세장에 중반을 지나고 있으며 미국의 규제 완화가 기관들의 암호화폐 시장 진입을 촉진할 것으로 기대한다고 합니다. 또한 스테이블 코인 관련 규제 완화와 더불어 신흥국에서는 비트코인과 스테이블 코인이 구매력과 자산 보호 수단으로 실질적 역할을 할 것이라고 말하며, 비트코인의 가치를 높게 평가하고 있고 비트코인이 가장 큰 확신을 갖는 투자 대상이라고 말하고 있죠. 여러분들은 어떻게 생각하시나요? 우리는 객관적인 시각으로 투자를 해야 하고, 지금 당장만 보고 투자할 게 아니라 미래를 보고 투자를 해야겠죠. 010-2472-0429 전화번호로 탈개미 적어서 문자 보내주시면 2025년 비트코인과 코인 시장에 대한 분석 정보들 공유해드리겠습니다. 현재 우리에게 중요한 것은 이러한 정보를 어떻게 활용할 것인가입니다. 지금까지 영상 시청해주셔서 감사하고요. 다음에 더 좋은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.